Hey everyone, Trevor at Toploaded Gaming, and have I got a story for you. It's a cautionary tale. Don't go out and do what I did here. Okay? Something I knew better than to do, but I did it anyway, and I'm kicking myself now. Okay, so what am I talking about here? Monday, this past Monday, I had one of my contacts give me a call and say, hey, I've got this friend and they've got some video games. She didn't tell me what. For all I know, it could be Atari games or it could be the most rarest game that I'm looking for. I have no idea what it's going to be. But she calls me out the blue and tells me, hey, my friend's going to be here in a little while. I'm going to call you back and let you know when they show up and you can come ride and check the games out. Okay? So, I had no warning this call was coming. So, the thing was, I didn't have the money to buy any games. I didn't have any money set aside to buy any games at this point in time. She calls me back a little while later, about a half hour later, and tells me to go ride. So I go ride. Now the first thing I see is this open trunk. I'm pulling up in the parking lot at her house and see this open trunk, and I'm walking up to it. And as I'm walking up, I see all sorts of game consoles. And this guy that I've never seen before walks up. And I'm like, so you the guy with the games? And, you know, he says yes. And for the time being, I'm going to keep this story with a bit of anonymity. So, but this guy comes up and I say, you the guy with the games? He says yes. And I see a PS1 console, which I don't want. I mean, even if the guy was literally giving it to me, I wouldn't want it. I have no room for a PS1 in my house. So, I see some PS1 controllers. I see a bag with a Wii. And for all I know, there could have been more, games that I wanted. But I just assumed it was Wii stuff in there. And I didn't even bother with it. I don't want another Wii. I have like 5 Wiis that are just sitting in a box, taking up space. Don't want it. What I did see that I did want was some Super Nintendo stuff. So immediately, I see Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and it's a game I do not have yet. So I'm like, hell yeah, this is gonna be alright. This is gonna be pretty cool, you know. Next thing I see is Super Mario All-Stars. Now I have all 3 iterations of Super Mario All-Stars at this point, so I don't really need the copy. But I'm thinking to myself, well, this is still cool because I can use this as trade bait for something that I want later down the line. Next thing that catches my eye, it was just like boom, 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 Super Bomberman 2, right? And they had the Hudson Soft multi-tap that came with Super Bomberman 2. I mean, the only thing they had missing was the box and the manual, you know. So I'm thinking, this is great, you know. The first 3 games that I see, I haven't even grabbed the damn box and pulled out the games, and that's the first 3 games that I see. What else is in this stack, you know? And sadly, it was downhill after that. But story gets a little more complicated than that. So he starts kind of haggling with me, and he's like, I want $100, you know. Now, in addition to these games, they have a few other games, and every single game that I haven't mentioned yet that are in this pile, I want to say there was like 6 or 7 of them, and every single one I did not have. There weren't any. It's not any special, super awesome games, but they're games that I don't have yet. Period. So I'm thinking this is a pretty cool sale. I'm used to getting almost everything duplicates, like just nothing but trade bait. He has 4 or 5 controllers, and I'm not even bothering to look to see which ones, if any, are OEM or third party or what. And he's got an AV cable, and he's got an SNES Junior. This fucking SNES Junior. It looked like this dude had smuggled it in his ass. It was the dirtiest console I have ever seen bar none. It didn't appear to be yellowed. So I was fine with it. He starts haggling with me and saying, I really want $100. I told him I'd be more comfortable with 60. And he didn't even try to go 75 or anything else. He immediately says, that's good with me, man. Take them all. I had to specify that, I wasn't interested in the other consoles, the Wii stuff, the PS1 stuff, the controllers. I just wanted the Super Nintendo stuff. Just the controllers, the Super Nintendo controllers, the multi-tap, the games, and the SNES Junior, right? Because at first, it seemed like he thought I was saying $60 for everything. And everything people have is gold. So the PS1 in his head was really worth $100. The Wii was worth $100. The SNES, that's worth $200. Because, it's old, so it's got to be fucking worth at least some fucking gold. At least some gold, right? No, it's not. No, you trying to fuck me over. So anyways, $60 for just the Super Nintendo stuff. And, he starts telling me something about that he's like in remission for cancer. Like this kind of sob story, and I kind of felt bad for the guy, and he was kind of like, I'm trying to pay these medical bills, and I was really hoping it was worth more. So I kind of felt bad for the guy. And I said, well, I mean, as far as the console goes, the SNES Junior, I said, man, really, I just want to buy the games and the multi-tap, the controllers. You can keep the console, dude. Keep the console, get yourself a magic eraser, clean it up, and go take it to Chimpokuma, and they'll give you a little bit more. Or, have this friend that, hooked us up, the contact that I have her sell it at her garage sale. Try and sell it for you. It's a little more. Maybe you might get a little more for it, because I don't really have a use for it. And he's like, oh man, that's cool. I really appreciate you doing that, man. That's cool. Most people would have just went along with it. Now understand, we had come up with $60, and it included that SNES Junior, so I didn't have to do that. But me being the nice guy, I went ahead and did it. So the thing was when he says $60, man, that's good, man, take it all. I had to tell him, hey, you did know that I don't have the money today. I'm gonna get paid Thursday. I'll get back with you Thursday. It looked like I had shit in this dude's cereal. I mean, he looked upset, but I thought he knew that. Well, apparently he didn't. So, reluctantly, he tells me, yeah, man, Thursday's fine, He joked and said, how'd he say that? I'm gonna have to charge you like a $20 holding fee, but, and he laughed and he said, no, I'm just kidding, man, Thursday's fine. So, we exchanged numbers, and today's Thursday. So, I have an eye doctor appointment in the morning. So, I'm trying to message him early, 8:30. I'm like, look, man, I'm leaving to go out of town to go to an eye doctor appointment. If you don't get with me by 10 o'clock, it's going to have to wait until the afternoon. Because remember, I'm thinking this guy is the cancer patient. He's got a bunch of bills, needs his money as soon as possible. Kind of wasn't about the games thing. I can wait. As a collector, I'm patient, okay? It was more about, this dude needs the money. I'm trying to help him out just as much as I'm trying to get the games, if not more. So, he never responds, so I go to my doctor appointment, and as I'm walking out, he calls me, and by this point, it's like 1:30 in the afternoon. So, I get in my car, and I call him back. And no, I text messaged him back and said, look, I'm just leaving home now, so let me know when you guys are ready to meet up. I'll let you know when I'm getting back from out of town. So he says, okay. And then all of a sudden he says he's where I'm at, like in the same town, away from where we both live. So now I'm confused, like, what the fuck? If you were there, why we didn't just meet over there and do this there? Like, I just didn't understand it. So I get home, and my dad's basically waiting on me to go help him out, and I contact these people, like, look, you know, it's a half hour, I'm home. I'm really waiting on you guys to be able to leave and go do something. How much longer y'all gonna be? And I was polite and everything. And this is over text message. And he says, 5 minutes. Not minutes, not mins, short for minutes. He put 5 minutes. I'm like, alright, whatever. So he finally shows up about 3 minutes later. And I get the text message saying here. So I walk out, and I've got the money already pulled out in my hand. And I walk down my steps. And this guy's a local guy, so it wasn't like some kind of Facebook meetup or anything. So I wasn't really that uncomfortable with him seeing where I live or anything like that. So I walk down my steps and I go to the road, and he's already out the car going towards the trunk, gets the bag of games, hands it to me. I hand him the $60. Now he's got the bag double knotted. It's a little shopping bag. So I start trying to undo the bag. I'm looking down, and I'm by the trunk still. And he had told me when he handed me the bag, his 2 kids were in the back seat. And I saw some younger kids were in the back seat. This guy's like, you know, approaching his 50s, I would think. And he's like, I gotta bring my kids somewhere. You know, I'm kind of in a hurry. I gotta bring my kids somewhere. But I thought, I'm looking down by the trunk, trying to open the bag. I thought he was gonna stay a second. This dude fucking gets in his car. When I notice he's getting in his car is when he closes the door. Dude fucking takes off. So I start kind of walk jogging to my fucking steps. I rip open the fucking bag. And immediately I notice, guess what? Fucking Super Bomberman 2, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and fucking Mario All-Stars all missing from the bag. I mean, the multi-tap is there, but those 3 games, missing. So I walk inside with the fucking games, and I call this dude back, and he answers. He says, hey man, what's up? I said, hey dude, three of the games are missing. You know, and let me just say right now, I'm the fucking moron that didn't look in the bag before giving him the money. I fully admit that, okay? He says, really? It's all the same games that I had in the box when we spoke the other day. You sure? Like, he questioned me. You sure that they're missing? And I sounded them off. Fucking Mario All-Stars. Fucking Super Ghouls and Ghosts. Super Bomberman 2. These are all missing. He said, I told him, you take away any one of these games and it changed the price I was willing to pay completely, and you're missing all 3 of them. These were the 3 most important games in this lot of games. I said, man, he says, well, what do you want to do? I said, well, really, honestly, can you find the games? Where are they? What happened to them? Are they still in the trunk in the same box that they were in? Because originally they weren't in a bag, they were in a box in his trunk. It's like, well, no, we had to switch cars, whatever that means. I don't know if it was a rental or what, but we had to switch cars, so it's definitely not in that trunk, and it's not in this trunk. I just looked there. Said, okay, well, do you, and he interrupts me and he says, let me see if I can find them. I'm going to give you a call back in a little while. Said, all right. You know, I definitely didn't like the situation I was in, but I was still willing to give this guy the benefit of the doubt. I didn't have any kind of attitude or anything like that. So I wait about an hour, then an hour turns to an hour and a half, and now I'm starting to kind of be like, what the fuck? So I call this dude back. No answer. Now I'm starting to get a little fucking pissed. And I text the number and say, look, someone needs to call me as soon as possible. Before the message even says it's delivered, somebody like called me right back. And this time it was his wife. Now, she had been there the whole time, but I had never really spoke to her that much. But now she's on the phone, and she answers, just like this. Hey, what's up? I'm thinking to myself, like, what's up? Did y'all find the games? You know, so I say, did y'all find the games? She says, oh, hold on. And I can hear her talking to her husband. Did you find the games? He's like, no, I didn't see them anywhere. He's like, no, he didn't find them. I'm like, okay, well, I tell you what, y'all live in, you know, a few streets away from me. Are y'all home now? She says, no, we actually had to come a little bit of ways at my aunt's house. I said, well, I can go meet y'all there, and we could just swap right back. I'll take my money back, take the games and everything back, and if y'all find the games, I'll be more than willing to buy them at a later date. She says, well, my aunt invited us to go play cards, so we're going out of town for the night and go play cards. Can I call you tomorrow? And still, I was like, sure, call me tomorrow. That's fine, but make sure you call me tomorrow. She said, oh yeah, no problem. We'll give you a call tomorrow. All right, when we hung up. Now, I was like fucking completely like alerted. I was like, this is shady as fuck. Every time I've been in this situation, and every time a seller has ever been in this situation with me, where it sort of looks kind of shady on my part or their part, whether it's me or the other person, every time I've ever had something happen like this, me or the other person bends over backwards trying to correct the situation or prove it wasn't the way it looks. Immediately. And this person not only isn't doing that, but just like blows it off until tomorrow. So I'm like thinking, man, I really fucked myself, you know. It's not gonna end up fucking working out, and I'm just shit out of fucking luck, and I should have looked in the bag, right? So I decide I'm gonna call one of my buddies, because I've got all these thoughts running through my mind. It's kind of very visceral at this moment, and I'm just thinking all kinds of stupid shit. So I'm like, let me call my other friend that kind of does the same thing as all of us and kind of collects, and let me just kind of vent about it, you know. Maybe he'll have some words of wisdom that'll calm me down or something like that. But my following plan was to call this game store that I have a few connections at, and do some bit of investigating. And for the sake of, you know, anonymity, let's call the game store Chimpokemon Games. Okay? So I call my buddy, and just for kind of shits and giggles, I ask him, hey, did you by any chance either get an offer to or buy these, you know, 3 specific games? And he tells me no. And I kind of already knew the answer to that question, you know, because, and he told me this too, like, he wouldn't have split up the games. He would have just bought all the games. So I get off the phone with him, and I call Chimpokemon Games. And my buddy Josh at Chimpokemon Games answers the phone, and, you know, he goes through the whole fucking thing that all of them have to go through, and I feel bad when they start spouting off, you know, thank you for calling Chimpokemon Games, where we have the Nintendo Switch, and if you pre-order this and you pre-order that, and I'm on the other line, on the other end of the phone, like, hey, it's Trevor, and they're like, oh, you dick, you know. But I don't want to interrupt him either, so I kind of don't know. I never know what to fucking do in that situation. If there's anybody else that fucking ever feels like that, let me know. But carrying on, I asked him, I said, look, this is going to be a little bit out the box, okay? But since Monday, how long have you been working? Have you been pretty much working every day? Have you been off? What's the situation? And he very confidently tells me, dude, I've been working all week. I've been like getting some serious hours in right now. So I'm like, great. Maybe you can answer this question for me. And I tell him, did someone go in there to Pokemon Games and trade in, and I listed off the games, Super Mario All-Stars, Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and Super Bomberman 2. And he tells me, yeah, actually, a couple people did. They had a bunch of stuff. And I started saying they had a Wii, they had a PlayStation 1, they had a few PlayStation controllers, they had Hudson Soft Multi-Tap. And he's like, yep, that's them. I said it was, you know, an older guy with a middle-aged woman, you know, kind of dark complected, whatever. Said all this stuff, and he's like, yep, that's them. And you know what? He tells me, you know what? They actually badmouthed you. I said, really? He says, yeah. They brought all this stuff to trade in, and they say that this guy wanted to give them only $60 for all of this stuff. And it was the PlayStation, the controllers, all the games, the Wii stuff, and I'm pretty sure they had a bunch of Wii games in the bag, but I didn't even look because I didn't even care about the Wii shit. And they were like, yeah, he tried to give us just $60 for all of this stuff, you know? And they thinking to themselves, like, and this is what actually happened. They say, well, we got a guy, you know, that does stuff, buys stuff like this, and he can probably give you more money than that guy and what we can give you. And they're like, oh, really, who? And they say my name, and they're like, that's the guy that lowballed us. And they're like scratching their heads like, what? No, this dude's pretty good on his prices and stuff, you know, so he's pretty fair. He's fairer than most of the people around here. You know, he kind of prides himself that he's fair on his offers. So they were kind of scratching their heads. And this is all what this guy is telling me at Pokemon Games over the phone. So I had verified that these fuckers went and traded these games in. As soon as I left these people with the games Monday, and I had told the guy, go ahead and keep the SNES Junior, clean it up, take it to Pokemon Games, and maybe you'll get some more money for it. As soon as I leave those people, they fucking hightail it with everything to Pokemon Games. And
Pokemon
barely took anything because it was so dirty. And that's one of the things the guy at Pokemon Games told me. And a lot of the games are missing the back label. So they couldn't take in a lot of the games. A lot of the games they had weren't on Pokemon's list of games that they buy. So they just traded in those 3 games. The 3 games that I had solely based my offer on. So I'm pretty furious at this point. Because these people are telling me they're looking for these games. So that they're just straight up lying to me. Now, I could understand if the guy had told me, look, man, we kind of need the money. I think I'm just going to take my chances and go to
Pokemon?
You know, maybe whatever's left or whatever. You know, maybe at that point, I could have either said, okay, that's fine, or maybe I could have borrowed the money with a friend or something like that, and we'd have all been happy, or whatever, you know? Or if he had never just called me back, went to
Pokemon?
just never called me back. But the thing is when I called him Thursday, today, he tells me, oh yeah, let's meet up. Here's the games. Oh, they don't have one in there. There's 3 of them missing. Oh, I'm gonna have to look for those. Knowing the whole time they had went to Chimpokemon Games and traded them all in. Like, what the fuck? I mean, even if they would have drove up and said, you know, scenario, hey, listen, man, I told you it wasn't a big deal, but man, we were really hard up for money that day, and I took everything into Chimpokemon Games, and it just so happened, 3 of the games, we traded them in, you know, for money, and here's what's left, you know. So if you want to look at it and make us a different offer, I understand. If you don't want to buy any, I understand, man, you know, but it is what it is. I wouldn't have been able to complain at all, you know, but that would have been the honest way of doing shit. But these people are shady as fuck. I've never run into this problem before. So anyway, getting back to my buddy on the phone with me at Pokemon Games. I'm so furious at this point when he's telling me all this. And by the way, he's telling me, man, I literally have Super Ghouls and Ghosts with me right now because the label was missing on the back. We couldn't take that one, but I wanted it. So I told them I'd give them money for it. And I told them, you know, well, actually, I don't remember what he said, but specifically, but he said something to the fact that he still owed them money for it. So, in whatever case, they left that game with him, even though Pokemon Games couldn't take it in. They left Super Ghouls and Ghosts with him, and supposedly he would still owe them money for that. So he had the game. Now, I was so pissed off. I'm on the phone with him. I got my headphones in my ears on the phone. So I start text messaging them. And I'm like, I know what you did. Basically, I know your secret type of shit. And as soon as that text was delivered, his wife calls me. Like, insta calls me. Like we play in Texas Hold'em or something. She followed me into the pot. She just fucking called me right back. And I answer kind of sarcastically with a hello. And it starts, I can't believe this is all some bullshit over 3 games. There was a bunch of games in that pile, and you complaining about 3 games. You tried to fuck us over and all this shit, and then I'm like, really? I tried to fuck you guys over? I fucking bent over backwards to try and help you guys out. Are you fucking serious? And I'm thinking she's going off of secondhand information where she thought I offered $60 for the whole thing or something like that. I don't know what the fuck she was thinking. She's out of her goddamn mind. She's screaming in my ear, and I'm thinking to myself, you gotta stop to breathe at some point. You gotta stop to breathe at some point. And when she did, I said, I literally just got off the phone with fucking Pokemon Games. And they told me what you did. As soon as I said Pokemon Games, I heard doot doot doot. She fucking hung up. And then she fucking calls my buddy at Pokemon Games and starts trying to fucking get them in trouble. But they didn't give any of her personal information out, even though I already know their personal information. They didn't give any out, so they didn't break any fucking rules or laws or fucking anything like that. So then basically, I start text messaging her saying pretty much, are you going to give me my money back or not? I even sent her a text message saying, why don't you both act like adults, come back over here, let's sit down, I'm going to look at the games, and I'll give you a reasonable offer for what's left, and then you give me the rest of the money that I'm owed off of that. And they started acting like, whoever was messaging me started acting like a 5-year-old kid, where I would type something and they would just like type it right back, the same thing, like they were just copycatting me over text message. How fucking shady and childish do you have to be to start copycatting over text message? So basically, I should have looked in the bag, right? I should have looked in the bag. That doesn't excuse their fucking shady behavior. They're trying to get in people in trouble for just doing their job at Chin Pokemon games. I mean, I understand people doing things that are shady or whatever, but doing shady things and then defending them like they weren't shady, like you're the one that's shady or whatever, I'll never understand that shit. The fucking mental gymnastics this fucking lady was fucking exuding from her fucking shit mind. So in the end, I'm basically stuck without those games, and out whatever the difference would be for those games missing from the lot. And I basically texted them that when I'm ready, I am going to let everybody know on social media to stay away from doing any sort of business with these people, because they fucked me over and they're shady. So whatever, hopefully people see it and they don't fall victim, or at least they check what the fuck they're getting before they pay for it, unlike my dumb ass. So that's basically the gist of it. I guess the one silver lining in all this shit is it's all games I don't have for some reason. Let's see what the fuck I ended up with. Caesar's Palace, Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, we're off to a fucking great start, right? Frogger, Bassin's Black Bass, Scooby-Doo Mystery, Cubert 3, Super Godzilla. Now, in addition to that, we got a few controllers. I've got 3 OEM controllers and a couple of third-party Super Pad controllers by, I think that's Performance or Interact. We've also got Super Multi-Tap, and my battery's low, so I'm gonna probably go ahead and wrap this up. This is Trevor over at Toploaded Gaming saying, fucking look in the bag. When you deal with somebody, fucking make sure you check the shit. Don't end up being a dumbass like me ranting about $60 on the fucking internet. Alright, people, talk to you later.